Hello, my name is Troy White, and today what I wanted to talk about is a little bit of history and how it relates to financial planning today. The topic is 40 acres and a mule. And many of you know 40 acres and a mule refers to a promise that was made to the freed slaves back in 1865, and that promise was to provide these former slaves with 40 acres of land and mules to till the land so that they could become farmers and become independent and such. It never happened. It was voted by Congress, passed, approved, but vetoed by President Andrew Johnson. And no doubt the African American circumstances and economy and social condition would be vastly different than it is today if that policy was implemented, but it wasn't. No use crying over spilt milk, but we can use it as a starting point to identify what we need to strive towards. And the policy was to give newly freed slaves the ability to feed themselves, run their own farms, and control their own destiny. Now, if we use 40 acres and a mule concept and interpret it through modern day financial planning and investment lenses, we can see that it's a very achievable goal. First off, anything that's finance related starts off with the planning. And then you have to understand and accept the reality that there are no reparations, nothing's going to be given to you. You're going to have to go out and get it yourself. You're going to have to make plans and take actions. It's going to require that you become financially literate and entrepreneurial. But using sound financial planning strategies, you will get there. That's a fact. Now, it's impractical for a person in today's society to want to achieve owning 40 acres of farmland. But the concept of owning real estate as a means to achieve economic independence is as valid today as it's ever been. So instead of thinking about 40 acres, in today's society, I want you to think about 40 units. 40 units of rental real estate investment property. Now, you're going to leverage the purchase of this property. It's going to generate a stable, predictable stream of income for you. The income that the tenants are generating for you is what's paying for the property. And over time, your income will increase and your expenses will decrease. And just like 40 acres, 40 units is a tangible asset that can be passed down to your heirs and held in your family for generations to come. 40 acres and a mule. What is a mule? A mule is a working animal known to have patience, even temper, and strength and endurance. I compare the mule to a well-diversified securities portfolio. Now, to create real wealth, you need stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, a securities portfolio. You know, you won't find a millionaire in America that doesn't have one or a combination of all of the above. That's a securities portfolio. Now, people invest in the stock market to build a healthy and secure financial future. Basically, the stock market is where the money game is played. And you know the saying, you got to be in it to win it. And if you're sitting on the sidelines, that means the money you do have is literally losing value. Now, achieving the modern day version of 40 acres and a mule will definitely require entrepreneurship on your part. Now, farming 40 acres was clearly an entrepreneurial endeavor. So let's identify, why do people become entrepreneurs in the first place? Freedom, pursue your passion, control your own destiny, and to avoid risk. Let's assume that you work for one company. How many sources of income do you have? One. When you have one source of anything, one source of customers, one source of suppliers, one source of vendors, you increase your risk and diminish your value. One source of income makes you beholden to a master. That job, that employer, that manager, that supervisor, etc. Now, entrepreneurship is arguably the single most powerful force to create economic and social mobility. It enables you to pursue what's most valuable to you, become who you want to be, and enjoy doing what you want to do. Now, it doesn't mean you have to quit your day job. You know, there are all sorts of entrepreneurial endeavors that you can pursue that are part-time or seasonal. You can own a franchise. You know, it could be a family business, just like farming was. You know, one person doesn't have to do it all. So, you know, it's up to you to find what that is, but you have to have some other source of income in the form of a small business, an entrepreneurial endeavor, in order to achieve your 40 acres and a mule. Another aspect of 40 acres and a mule is leaving a legacy. Now, a farm is traditionally something that's held in families for generations, and providing for one's family and heirs used to be important to our community. Now, it's every man for himself. Each generation has to start from square one with no help from the previous generation. We have to plan to pass the baton. It doesn't happen on accident. We can do this by creating a family trust to hold assets like real estate, even life insurance, death benefits. You need to have a proper will, regardless of how much or little you do have. And everyone needs to make sure they have a permanent life insurance policy. Now, part of controlling one's own destiny and leaving a legacy involves educating your children. Statistics show if you're born to a low-income family and fail to earn a college degree, you will remain in the lowest income bracket. Education is the primary source of social mobility. It can take a person born in poverty and allow you to rise in society. See, there's a vicious cycle. Poverty makes it harder to get an education. If you lack a good education, you're likely to remain in poverty. And your child will grow up in poverty, and it will be difficult for your child to get an education. And if that child doesn't get an education, he is likely to remain in poverty. And his child will grow up with the same difficulties achieving an education. And if that child doesn't receive a good education, he or she is likely to remain in poverty, and so on and so on. Poor children don't underachieve because they're less intelligent. Poor children underachieve because their parents didn't plan for them to become educated, and in some cases, don't understand the value of education. If you care about your children, make an investment in their education. Plan for their success. A student loan is considered good debt. An education is the best investment you could possibly make in yourself, and especially in your children, in your legacy. Things to know when it comes to saving for an education: a 529 account is excellent means to save for college. Uniform gifts to minors account is another type of account that the assets can be used for college funding as well. Coverdell savings accounts, variable universal life insurance policies, multifamily income properties provide income that can be used for funding and education. And we can get really creative with the uniform gifts to minors account and multifamily properties. I could go pretty deep into that, and I will at a later date, but just know that it's up to you to get informed and understand how, because educating your children is of the utmost importance. And getting an education is important, but financial literacy is equally as important. Your family must become financially literate. See, being wealthy shouldn't just be defined by a numeric dollar value. Understanding how money works and how to make money work for you is of vital importance. You becoming financially literate will strengthen your ability to create and sustain wealth. You need to understand about investment accounts, the different types of investments, compound returns, how all these things interact with each other, the hows, the whys, the whats. You need to know this. Financial literacy is important for your success and for the success of your family. Now, getting your 40 acres and a mule is a great goal, and we should try to achieve it. But let's change the game from 40 acres to 40 units. Instead of a mule, let's achieve a diversified securities portfolio. And to make it all work successfully, you need to become a financially literate entrepreneur. Make education important and pass a legacy on to your heirs. If you follow those steps, you'll have your 40 acres and a mule, plus more. I guarantee you that. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My contact information is listed below. I appreciate your time. Thanks for listening. I hope to hear from you soon.